Hey guys, welcome to Dog Forge. My name's Paul, and this is our Tasha's Cauldron of Everything series. Do you want more D&D and Tasha's content? Then hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Every subscriber helps to build and support our channel, and we are extremely grateful for each and every one of you. But now the full moon's rising. Feel the change take you as this time we take a look at the path of the Beast Barbarian. So straight off the bat, I will let it be known that I am a big fan of this particular barbarian. I feel like it has a lot of choice that you're not locked into. I find its flavour really fun, and I find that the choices that you can make every time you rage really gives you a good varying set of tools to approach any situation. This kind of path opens up a lot of different kind of builds and playstyles, but it doesn't actually lock you into any of them unless you additionally invest in them, and that's something that I really appreciate here. So the entire theme of this subclass is a barbarian that when they rage they draw upon a bestial spark within themselves. This can be something from a primal spirit, descended from shapeshifters or lycanthropy. It's really up to you. They do give you a D4 table this time for your origins. And they include one of your parents as a lycanthrope and you've inherited some of their curse. You are descended from an archdruid and inherited the ability to partially change shape. A fey spirit gifted you with the ability to adopt different bestial aspects. And finally, an ancient animal spirit dwells within you, allowing you to walk this path. So, some good flavour here. It's a little disappointing that this origin table is a bit shorter than some of the other ones we've seen, but I guess they just ran out of theming really quickly. So straight off the bat, here we have a human beast barbarian. So you can really see the extent of the change they're experiencing because they do not look really human whatsoever. Now straight into the crunch of the matter. At 3rd level you're going to get Form of the Beast. So when you enter your rage, you transform, revealing the bestial power within you. Until the rage ends, you manifest a natural weapon. This natural weapon counts as a simple melee weapon for you, and you add your strength modifier to the attack and damage rolls when you attack with it as normal. Now what's important to note here is that it does count as a simple melee weapon, and that does factor in for some things that you might want to combo with it, which we'll get into in a little bit. So you get 3 different weapons to choose from, and each come with a different fringe benefit. So first up is the bite. Your mouth transforms into a bestial muzzle. It deals 1d8 piercing damage on a hit. Obviously, as this is only whilst you're raging, you're going to get your strength and your rage bonus. So let's say you start off with a +3, then you'll be doing 1d8 plus 5. Once on each of your turns, when you damage a creature with this bite, you regain a number of hit points equal to your proficiency bonus, provided you have less than half your hit points when you are hit. So this is a good little hit point sponge kind of ability. It's a little lackluster in terms of what it could be. Proficiency bonus is a really small amount of hit points to regain. Even at 3rd level, 2 hit points a turn. Even doubling it technically with the resistance, as long as you're facing bludgeoning, piercing or slashing damage, does stretch out a little bit, but I would have preferred to have seen at the very least the restriction of less than half hit points removed. I don't think that would really unbalance it, and it would give it a bit more bite. I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry. I don't think you necessarily need to give it more hit points, but just removing that restriction so that it can help keep you topped up, rather than acting like a kind of poor man's champion regeneration, would have been quite nice. Still, I quite like it. Moving on to the second one, and the DPS option of choice, if you will, is claws. Each of your hands transforms into a claw, which you can use as a weapon if it's empty. It deals 1d6 slashing damage on a hit, again plus rage and strength modifier. Once on each of your turns when you attack with a claw using the attack action, you can make 1 additional claw attack as part of the same action. So what this means is when you get this ability at 3rd level and you take the attack action, you'll actually make 2 attacks provided you're using your claws. When you get up to 5th level and you get extra attack, you can attack 3 times provided at least one of your attack action attacks is using your claws. Now if you want to try and pinch and get every little bit of damage out of this that you can, then you can actually wield, say, a greatsword at the same time, making one of your attacks with the greatsword, the second attack with your claws, and then getting the third attack from the claws. And this can be quite nice. Now you can push this a little bit further and try and get more attacks out of this. One way to do this would be to grab the dual wielder feat. The dual wielder feat would allow you to make an offhand attack with a non-light weapon, and your hands are non-light simple weapons. So this would open you up to 4 straight claw attacks. Depending on your DM's interpretation of the Polearm Master feat, as long as you make a single attack, you may be able to make the bonus action attack and still get your 2 additional claw attacks in for 4 attacks. However, this is not an interpretation that I personally support, but I do know that that is the opinion of some out there, so I just wanted to include it. This is a really fun, just kind of jump on them, rip them to pieces kind of form, and it's probably my favourite out of all of them. Finally, the tail, and the tail is going to come with 2 little side abilities. So it's a D8 piercing weapon again, but however it does have the reach property. So this is going to allow you to kind of skirmish a little bit. As a barbarian, you are going to eventually pick up the additional movement speed, bumping you up to 40 if you're on a stock 30. However, as part of Tasha's, we also get the optional add-on ability that lets you move half your distance when you rage. These 2 things together means that you can threaten a wide number of enemies on a substantially large battlefield, without needing to be something like a tabaxi. However, that's not all the tail offers you. If a creature you can see within 10 feet of you hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to swipe your tail, roll a d8 and apply that as a bonus to your AC, potentially causing that attack to miss you. So you can kind of think of this like kind of like a defensive duelist kind of thing, except it's using a d8 in place of your proficiency bonus. This is really great, but you do have to note that this does not protect you against range attacks, although covering you from 10 feet means that you will be covered by most people dealing melee damage. This is a great option, and if to break it down, we have a hit point regeneration weapon, a pure damage weapon, and a reach/light shield weapon. So a great bit of variety here. Moving on into 6th level, and we get a nice bump again. So you get Bestial Soul at 6th level. The feral power within you increases, etc, etc, fluff, fluff, fluff. So when you finish a short or long rest, choose one of the following benefits which lasts until you finish your next short or long rest. So you can chop or change between any one of the following options whenever you finish a rest. You gain a swimming speed equal to your walking speed, and you can breathe underwater. You gain a climbing speed equal to your walking speed and can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. This is kind of important because this goes a little bit beyond just having a climbing speed, and this gets you most of the way to something like spider climb. And finally, when you jump, you can make a strength athletics check and extend your jump by a number of feet equal to the check's total. You can make this special check once per turn. So this can make you kind of predator jump, which is really cool. And if you're doing this whilst you're, say, enraged and trying to close a distance or something, then you'll also have advantage on that check. So all of this is adding a bit of maneuverability that I think will largely expand your usefulness outside of combat to overcome terrain obstacles. Personally, whilst I love the idea of just jumping in a savage rage across larger distances, I think the most useful out of these abilities, for the most part, is going to be the climb speed. Now obviously there are going to be situations in some campaigns where swimming is better or jumping is better, but I think overall as a blanket thing, climb speed is probably the strongest one here. However, since you can change this on a short or long rest, you don't really need much to actually change it up if you do need something else, especially with things like catnap rope trick, short rests aren't that difficult to come by. Moving on to 10th level, and we're going to see both a bit of a damage bump, but also something a little more interesting in my opinion. So at 10th level we get Infectious Fury. When you hit a creature with your natural weapons while you're raging, so you have to be using the weapons you get for your transformation from this. If you were mixing and matching with normal weapons, that will not apply for this. You can curse your target with Rabid Fury. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw, and that DC is 8 plus your Constitution modifier plus your proficiency bonus, or suffer one of the following effects, and you get to choose which effect you impose. The target must use its reaction to make a melee attack against another creature of your choice that you can see. Great if you're fighting something that hits hard. Or the target takes an additional 2d12 psychic damage. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, so 4 times at this point, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So at the level this comes online, this feels about right. You get a nice damage bump, either directly through that 2d12, or indirectly by making some enemy bruiser hit his own ally. Getting 4 times a day at this point, it seems enough, and if you are playing high level games that is going to push to 5 and 6 times a day. You can kind of consider this like your odd Bestial Barbarian smite, and if you think of it in smiting terms, then that feels about right. This is not going to be the primary source of your damage, but it's going to be a nice bit of gravy on top when you need it. And coming to the final ability, now this is going to be again a little bit odd, but also kind of cool and thematic. 14th level gives us Call the Hunt. The beast within you grows so powerful that you can spread its ferocity to others and gain resilience from them joining your hunt. It's a little bit of an odd duck, but I like it. So when you enter your rage, and only when you enter your rage, you cannot do this on subsequent turns, you can choose a number of willing creatures that you can see within 30 feet of you, equal to your con modifier, minimum of 1. You gain 5 temporary hit points for each creature that accepts this feature. Until the rage ends, the chosen creatures can use the following benefit once on each of their turns. When a creature hits a target with an attack roll and deals damage to it, the creature can roll a d6 and gain a bonus to the damage equal to the number rolled. And you can use this ability, you guessed it, a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, because we're talking about Tasha's, and this resets on a long rest. So this is kind of both a support and a self-buff ability. So your limit of creatures each time you use this ability is your con modifier. You gain 5 temp HP per person that you accept. At this level, I would say that your con should be at least 3, so you're talking at least 15 temp HP for yourself. Now, it does state other willing creatures that you can see, so that you cannot use this on yourself, like some features that say that you can see. But they're effectively going to get an extra d6 to their attack, which is going to be pretty nice for everyone. And it's kind of bringing the damage ceiling and floor of everybody up. It's a really nice ability, and it kind of emphasizes that how this subclass walks a line between strength and constitution as a primary focus. Now obviously a barbarian requires strength for their attacks and damage, and if you neglect that, you're not going to be hitting as much. Barbarian can negate this a little bit with reckless attack, but this is not a bare barbarian. You're only going to be resisting BPS damage, so I would be a little hesitant of spamming that unless you want to be healed, especially if you've chosen something like the claws to really go for that DPS. But this does emphasize in at least 2 different places here with the number of creatures you can affect, and previously with your DC being set by con. It really emphasizes bumping con as well as strength, at the very least making con definitely more important than dexterity. So this is a barbarian that, besides thematically, stat-wise, you will probably also maybe want to take the unarmored defense option provided by the barbarian class. Since you're going to be bumping that constitution up high anyway, then there's a chance that it could actually be better than armor, especially if you're letting your dex suffer as a result. But that's it. That is the path of the Beast Barbarian. I am a fan of this. At some point I personally want to play one, at the very least in a one-shot. I'm looking forward to just jumping on some creature and just ripping it to shreds with my claws. And the idea of that spiny tail whipping up alongside you, kind of like an alien xenomorph, is a really cool mental image. But hey, that's just what I think. What do you think about the Beast Barbarian? Let us know in the comments down below, and whilst you're there, hit that like button if you've liked this video. If you want more Tasha's and 5e content, then hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Or if you want your next fix straight away, then smash one of the boxes